Friday Night Lights here on Oneburg. Glad you could join us here on our Oneburg Facebook channel, Oneburg YouTube, or maybe you're listening live on Spotify here tonight. We're live from Upper St. Clair High School, where tonight the Franklin Regional Panthers play the Upper St. Clair Panthers. Both teams 2-0 on the season. One will remain undefeated tonight, while the other will go down in defeat for the first time. As you can see behind me, the team's warming up here from Upper St. Clair High School. Right behind us is Franklin Regional. Back behind there is Upper St. Clair. And back behind me are my two broadcast partners for tonight. We'll have the call on the Trib Live High School Sports Network at 7 o'clock on play-by-play. Mitch Montani. Greg Smith will be alongside myself. And we'll have all the action here for you tonight. And guys, let's talk about week 2 here in the WPIAL a little bit. Week 0, of course, happened a couple weeks ago. But now we're into technically the third week of the high school football season. But technically it's week 2. So when you go with all that, some of these teams have played 3 games, some have played 2. Some that had a lightning delay or cancellation last week have played none. But these two teams we'll see tonight have both played twice. They're both undefeated. This should be a good one here tonight.
Absolutely. Glad we finally made our way into September here. It's nice to really start to shift into the fall. We are in week 2 already. Very humid last week, a lot of lightning in the area, a lot of bad weather. Some games got canceled, a lot of games got delayed. But both of these two teams find themselves heading into this week in really good position. Both have had 2 comfortable wins.
And Greg, weather could be a factor here tonight as well. We had some rain showers just a little bit ago, but it's kind of one of those atmospheres, much like last Friday night, where there's a chance of thunderstorms throughout the evening. We could possibly be delayed tonight, too.
Yeah, we'll have to see what happens. And I'm glad you caveated the first 2 weeks of some have played 0, some have played 1, and some have played 2. A really interesting week 2 matchup. Again, both these teams, thankfully, have both had an opportunity to play a few. But yeah, tonight, I wonder how much the coach will have to play into that and think about that moving forward as the game progresses.
Let's talk about some of the top games from across the WPIAL tonight. Hopefully you're heading out here soon to go catch one of those high school football games. Guys, a good one in Avonworth tonight, Aliquippa in Avonworth. Aliquippa, one of those teams that elected not to play a week 0 game, Mitch. Last week hosted Bell Vernon, a battle between 2 state champions from 3A a year ago for the Leopards, and the Quips, of course, out of 4A. I was there. They got about 8 minutes in. Lightning delay number 1 for 50 minutes. They played another minute off the game clock, and then lightning delay number 2 for another 50 minutes. That game ultimately was canceled, not postponed, canceled. So the Quips will actually begin their season tonight at Avonworth. And Tyke Hayes, that's their big talented running back, Mitch, only needs a little bit less than 100 yards to get to 6,000 for his career, and he'll continue to move up the WPIAL all-time rushing leader.
Yeah, never bet against the Quips, Ed, under any circumstance. They've had a tough time getting a game in through the first 2 weeks, or whatever you want to call it, with week 0 and week 1. But yeah, never bet against the Quips. They're going to handle business tonight against them.
And Greg, they have another talented running back. We saw him last week, the sophomore, Senior Brooks. He's a transfer from Central Catholic. So now, that's exactly what Aliquippa needed, right? They needed a 1-2 punch. They needed another attacker other than Tyke Hayes. Now they got another one in Brooks. He looked good last week in his brief action.
Yeah.
So the Quips, very dangerous on the ground.
Yeah, and I was able to see Brooks at Central Catholic even last year, and you're right. I mean, you talk about an explosive player, and as if they needed more weapons, yeah, Aliquippa loads up again. Be careful, though. Avonworth, a historically solid program, tough place to play. They put up some good crowds there. Week 0, again, I know Aliquippa's played at least, a quarter's worth of game action. Tough one to walk into there. I think if you're Aliquippa, you got to keep your head on the swivel. They're Avonworth a good quality team.
Absolutely. Avonworth making the WPIAL championship game in Class 3A against Bell Vernon in the last 2 years. They will host Aliquippa at 7 o'clock tonight. Latrobe and Norwin, here's a little bit of a surprise, guys. Both teams are 2-0 on the season. Norwin is 2-0, Mitch, for the first time since 2014. Latrobe, they're going for 3-0. For the first time since 2005. So there hasn't been a lot of success with those two Westmoreland County teams over the course of the last 15, 20 years. But so far, so good for the Wildcats and the Knights. We'll do battle at 7 o'clock tonight.
Absolutely, and that's the one thing you always like to see early in a season are two teams that aren't historic powerhouses that find themselves in a big game situation. Both of these teams 2-0, looking to make some history tonight. That's exactly what you want to see in the early season and build some momentum for the second half for these either young teams or really inexperienced ones.
Mitch, they have a couple, Greg, let's talk to Mitch. Greg, hey, by the way, Ed Troup, Mitch Montani, Greg Smith, all part of the Trib Live High School Sports Network, which I'm part of here on Oneburg as well, bringing you the Oneburg Friday Night Lights WPIAL preview show here live from Upper St. Clair High School. Glad you could join us. We'll talk Panthers here in a little bit. But Greg, we're talking a little bit about Latrobe and Norwin. Latrobe actually features a couple Division I talents. They got Alex Tatch, who's going to Penn State, and John Wetzel, who's going to Marshall. Tatch actually had 227 yards rushing and 3 catches last week, 19 tackles, an interception, 2 forced fumbles. He can do it all for Latrobe. Wildcats, man, they're off and running this year.
Yeah, pretty great wrestler, too. He is for Latrobe, and you're right. And I love Mitch's point, too. Watching two sort of non-historic powers hit the ground running, it's so important for somebody to come out on top there and really, I think, not just win, but really prove themselves forward, because I think that's the momentum kind of game that's going to take you all the way. And you're right, with Latrobe, 2 big horses like that running in the backfield, it's going to be tough for Norwin to stop, I think, when it all comes down to it.
A couple other top matchups in the WPIAL tonight. Moon travels to Penn Trafford. Moon's 1-0. Penn Trafford's 1-1. Penn Trafford has a very talented running back, Mitch, as well, with Tasso Whipple, 310 yards rushing on the season. Penn Trafford has a good quarterback in Johnny Lavrel. He was 17 of 26 for 217 yards last week. That game at Penn Trafford tonight. Again, Moon just 1 game under their belt at 1-0. Penn Trafford 1-1.
So the first thing that sticks into my mind when you talk about that matchup is that has to be one of the longest bus rides in the entire district. It's true. From Moon to Penn Trafford, are you kidding me? But that should be a pretty good matchup between those two teams. And again, we expected Moon to be in it. Penn Trafford, another strong year for them. They should be strong here this season. So it should be a pretty good ball.
Both Moon, Greg, and Penn Trafford play 2 very physical type of football on both sides of the field. That should be a close one tonight, I would expect, between those 2 teams, but one of those grinded out type of matchups.
Yeah, Tasso Whipple, another great wrestler, too. Always got a shout out to WPIAL wrestlers. Yeah, I saw Moon in week 0. They beat a pretty good Trinity team, 21-0. It was kind of what you're alluding to, kind of ground and pound, typical Moon kind of win. It'll be interesting to see if Penn Trafford can hit a couple of big plays. Moon leads so much on their defense. If Moon can find a way to hit some big plays, or rather even Penn Trafford find a way to hit a few big plays against that Moon defense, I think the Warriors have a real good chance tonight.
Another surprise team in the WPIAL so far this year is Elwood City. The Wolverines are 1-0. They go to Neshannock, who's 2-0 on the season. Get this, guys. Elwood City was 0-25 in the previous 3 seasons, but they have a new coach and a new look out there in Elwood City, and they're excited about this year's team. Off to a good 1-0 start, but they're excited mainly because of a dual threat with their quarterback, Gino, and Mazasico, I think how you pronounce it. But Elwood City, they have some really talented players. They also have Elijah Palmer McCain, who's close to 3,000 yards rushing on the season. A lot of offensive weapons in Elwood City, Mitch, and they're excited about the Wolverines for this season.
Yeah, when you can do things with both a running game and a passing game, an up-and-coming quarterback and a running back who's got a ton of career rushing yards, you can do things both ways. You can run the ball and you can pass for success. And with teams that have both of those 2 things going for them, they're going to be a tough out. And Elwood City off to a good start.
Yeah, but I'll tell you what, Neshannock, you want to talk about a traditional power and how good they've been recently. I know this year maybe they've taken a little bit of a setback, but this is the first real test for Elwood City, right? An up-and-coming team, a team that has such a poor record from previous years. It's always sometimes almost a mental game to get over the hump to beat a team that you look on the schedule early in the season, you say, you put a circle around Neshannock, probably back during summer camp. Now's their chance to prove it. Big chance for Elwood City to do that, but against a tough opponent in Neshannock.
Last but not least, before we get to our picks, and we'll get both of your picks too for all those games we just went over, is the game that's going to take place here tonight at Upper St. Clair between the Franklin Regional Panthers and the Upper St. Clair Panthers. Both teams 2-0 on the season. And, Mitch, we saw Upper St. Clair just 2 weeks ago open their season up against Mount Lebanon. They beat Mount Lebanon 42-22. Then they go to Cannon Mac last week. They win that one 41-6. Panthers are averaging 41 points per game and only 14 given up. They've scored 83 points in 2 games. This offense is humming right now, and they got a couple players that are big for that. Ethan Hellman's one of them, though he left last week with a concussion. Not sure if he'll play tonight or not. Maybe you could tell me that in a second. And also Julian Dahlin, too, their talented running back, has 22 carries for 208 yards so far this season.
I did hear he was game time decision, so not sure if he'll suit up. We'll find that out here in a couple of minutes. But this should be a really good matchup. 2 teams that are very strong. And the first thing that came into my head when I started doing my research for this was potential future playoff matchup.
Right, yeah.
You have 2 very strong 5A teams, Franklin Regional out of the Big East Conference. I think I have that right. Yeah, Big East Conference. Upper St. Clair out of the Allegheny 6 Conference. These 2 teams could be seeing each other down the line. They're both 2-0. They both had comfortable wins. It's got a lot going for it.
And great when you take a look at the Franklin Regional Panthers, also off to a 2-0 start. Their stats very similar to Upper St. Clair. They've scored 91 points in their first 2 games. They beat Plum in week 1, 42-7. Last week went to Hempfield, won 49-26. All be told, 91 points in 2 games, averaging 45 points per game, 16 given up. They got a talented quarterback with Chase Lemke. He's thrown for almost 319 yards on the season and 5 touchdowns in those 2 games.
Yeah, and passing early in the season is oftentimes a little easier, right? Weather more conducive, that sort of thing. But, right, can you find the big play through the air? Can you keep Upper St. Clair's offense off the field? You alluded to how strong their offense is going to be. It's going to be really key for Lemke to not make turnovers here or not force any turnovers. And if they can do that and hang into this game, I think, again, maybe not as battle-tested as Upper St. Clair, but we'll see if they get late in this game. If it's so close, can they lean on a guy like Lemke to push them over the edge?
Well, let's get to our picks before we close things out here from Upper St. Clair High School. We'll start with Aliquippa Avonworth. Greg, who do you like today?
I think Mitch said it the best. You can't bet against the Quips. I'll take Aliquippa.
Aliquippa.
Quips 3 for 3 at Avonworth tonight. All 3 of us like the Quips on the road at Avonworth tonight. Latrobe at Norwin. Again, both teams 2-0.
I so badly want to take Norwin here. I can't bet against Alex Fadish. I'm going to take Latrobe.
I'm going with the Knights.
Well, I guess I got to break the difference. We're 1 for 1. I'm going to go with Latrobe tonight on the road at Norwin. So both Greg and I like Latrobe, and Mitch, he likes Norwin. Moon at Penn Trafford. Moon 1-0, Penn Trafford 1-1, Greg.
Again, I've seen Moon a ton over the last couple of years. I always seem to think it's not going to come together for him. I'm going to bet against him. I think it's Penn Trafford here tonight. I think a home game for the Warriors gets it done.
I'm with Greg. I got Penn Trafford in that one.
We'll go with Penn Trafford as well. So 3 votes for Penn Trafford at home. Sorry, Tiger fans out there. I know we got a lot of Moon people that watch Oneburg. Elwood City at Neshannock. Again, Elwood City 1-0, Neshannock 2-0.
Yeah, I can't. Good for Elwood City for getting off to a fast start. I think Neshannock's just still too tough of a program. I'll take Neshannock.
Yeah, always bet on the track record, Neshannock.
I'm going to go with an upset here.
Yeah.
I'm going to take Elwood City on the road tonight at Neshannock. Warrior proud for Elwood City. I know we got some Elwood City fans that tune into Oneburg a lot as well. So we'll go with that. Finally, guys, our game of the night here tonight, Franklin Regional at Upper St. Clair. Any of us, we can't say Panthers, because if you just say Panthers, you punted and you didn't take anybody, because it's Panthers versus Panthers tonight. Greg, who do you like?
I'll take the Panthers. I think Upper St. Clair. I think offensively, Dahlin, even with the uncertain status of Ethan Hellman, I think Dahlin and crew. I think Upper St. Clair gets it done.
Last time these 2 teams met 7 years ago in the quarterfinals of the playoffs, the final score was 6-3 Upper St. Clair.
There you go.
So
take the under then.
yeah, I'm taking the over on that tonight, comparatively to that score. But I think Upper St. Clair's too strong. You and I saw them a couple weeks ago. They dominated Mount Lebanon on both sides of the ball. Give me Upper St. Clair.
I'm going to go with the Upper St. Clair Panthers as well. Mitch and I, as we said, we saw them here 2 weeks ago, and they just had that look about them, guys. They had that look of a championship-type feel, and I think they'll get a better test tonight against a talented Franklin Regional team, but I still think they'll get the job done, and they'll stay undefeated on the season. So that's a clean sweep for Upper St. Clair. Guys, as we close things out, I will say this. I was at Aliquippa last week. When I came on to do the pre-show here on Friday Night Lights, it was sunny and hot. And by the time we ended it, it was cloudy and the weather was moving in. And there were 2 lightning delays and ultimately got canceled. The same thing's happening right now. When we came on, it was sunny and warm. Now it's getting cloudy here from Upper St. Clair. Let's hope for better weather across the WPIAL.
At least it's not as hot as it was last week. it's cold. So we'll take that.
Yep.
For sure. Hey, Greg Smith, thank you so much, Greg, for coming on One Bird. Vince Montani as well. Greg and Mitch will be with myself at 7 o'clock on the Trib Live High School Sports Network if you want to watch this game behind us. And make sure you stay logged on to One Bird all weekend long. Brian Carruthers and myself will have the Steeler post-game show for you on Sunday after the Steeler-Falcon game live here on One Bird. We welcome all of your comments for the post-game show. And then next Wednesday here on One Bird, we'll have the Three Rivers podcast for you as well. We'll lead in with a shot of the field here from Upper St. Clair. Have a great night, everybody. Hope you're heading out somewhere in the WPIAL tonight to check out some great high school action here in southwestern Pennsylvania. Beautiful sky behind me. On the other side of the camera, you can't see it, but it's very dark. It looks stormy, but at least behind me, you got a great shot. Have a great week, everybody.